that we're watching right now at the moment. We're now tracking Muhammad Mohaimin there. It appears that they're all in Volkswagen Beetles, which in iRacing is a free car that you get with the subscription. Of course, other cars are available, but I think most of the guys will be running the Beetle for this event. So this little Rallycross demonstration race is currently being hosted by SRE, I believe. SRE. And
Hey man.
yeah.
So this race is hosted by Sim Racing Enthusiast Group.
Right, SRE. That's it. Trying to remember what I just saw a couple of minutes ago there. And that was the voice of our director, Carol Long, who will be helping me throughout this broadcast today. Thank you very much for that. So yes, it's Sim Racing Enthusiasts, a rather large and very popular group of sim racing enthusiasts here in the Southeast Asian region, I would have to say. Maybe Malaysia and Singapore and a few other places as well. But very interesting concept running Rallycross and iRacing. It's turning out to be a very, how to say,
Whoa, did you see that?
The guys are really trying, just even in practice, to send the cars. Yeah, they're absolutely sending it around here right now, having perhaps a little bit too much fun. But yeah, these Volkswagen Beetles, prepared by the Andretti Autosport team, more famous for their IndyCar racing, but Volkswagen gave them the contract to build, develop and prepare these Volkswagen Beetle Global Rallycross cars, which are quite fierce little things. 2-litre turbocharged engine producing somewhere in the region of 700 to 800 horsepower, in a chassis that has a fairly simplistic four-wheel drive system, so the drivers really do need to use all of their skills to get the car turned in. As you can see there, you really have to throw the car around to try and get a good time around here. Lots of fun to watch. As you can see them drifting sideways through there. Now, a few things have changed in iRacing since our last broadcast. There was a nice little update to the tire model, and which is always being improved, obviously, on iRacing, the way they set the tire model up, and also a few other bits and pieces as well. But that wouldn't be too much of a bother for these guys. Asman Abdullah, they're taking the side of the jump as opposed to the top of it, perhaps running a little bit too far sideways through there. Now you'll see that these cars, they don't have center differential, so they only have a front differential and rear differential, which means they have a permanent 50-50 torque split between the front and rear wheels. This is to reduce costs, but they can vary it by pulling the handbrake. When they pull the handbrake, the rear wheels disengage from their drive, and as you can see Asman there just spinning the car in the middle of the track. We now go on board with Zainul Hazim in the purple, white and black car, Roberto livery car. So you'll see these drivers will be using the handbrake quite often in comparison to a normal four-wheel drive rally car. That's just to get the back end to come around. You definitely need, these cars are definitely designed with the rule package to be very aggressive. So these cars would need to be driven aggressively to try and get the most out of them, which makes for very spectacular motoring indeed. We're now on our 48th minute of practice out of 55. That's about 7 minutes ago. You can see the curbs around this Phoenix Rallycross course, definitely very, very steep and sharp indeed. Now the drivers are mainly taking the main circuit there, but to the left of the wall you see there is the Joker lap, which the drivers will have to take once every race. So I believe we'll have a 10 lap heat and then a 15 lap heat to decide the positions. But yeah, it looks like most of the drivers out there are, in fact all of the drivers are using the standard free-to-use Beetle that iRacing provides along with the Rallycross content. I must say it's a lot of fun to drive around with. And of course, being iRacing, the marshalling system and all the rest of it will be fairly accurate to how it is in real life. So you'll be glad to know that all the guys will be definitely be made sure to follow the rules and regulations. Malvinder's Singh there, now currently having a go at the Rallycross course, throwing the car around with abandon. Really, really high over the jumps there. Now these are the kind of cars where you really don't so much try and learn the braking points as try and adapt to the situation as you arrive into the corners, because the course can change quite a lot during the course of a race or a practice session like this, and the car sort of evolves as well, because these guys they're not running rally tires as most people believe them to be. They're actually running very specialized Rallycross tires. They're based on tarmac rally tires with a little bit more of an aggressive tread pattern, and they're surprisingly good in the dirt, as any oval racer will tell you. Cut slicks are the best thing to have on a dirt oval race, and same sort of thing happens here. Obviously the cars don't have to run for so long, and the threat of punctures is if you manage to keep the car off the wall, unlike Malvinderjit there. If you if you manage to keep the car away from the wall or the curbs, the chances of puncture are much less than in an actual rally. You see there, it's the clout the other side as well. Tarmizi Musuf, I believe. I'm not too sure if he's put the M's there just to confuse us. I believe that's Tarmizi Yusuf, but do comment in the comment section below if you guys know how to pronounce that. We'll be glad for your feedback, and while you're at it, do like, share, and subscribe for more esports, e-racing, and sim racing content like we have here today. And do follow us and share the video on the wall if you enjoyed it. That would be very much appreciated, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're now seeing 8 entries.
That's quite good. There'll probably be some of the guys who have either practiced previously before entering the event. There is Tarmizi has a big spin onto the runoff area. Quite lucky that the walls were quite far back there. But yeah, I'm not sure if the other guys have perhaps practiced beforehand and are only going to just jump straight into qualifying, or maybe we do have a slightly lower field today, being a midweek race. But hopefully if this race goes off well, we'll see more Rallycross content, both on the SRE organized channels, and as well as the Adrenaline Impact big jump there off the curbs. So the way they try and stop the cars from cutting the corners there, as you can see, Mohamed Ohaimin just testing out the curbs and seeing what he can get away with. These cars are built very, very strong indeed. Even though they have quite basic technology in them, the ECUs are controlled units from the FIA, and the brakes are controlled, a few other components as well. But they can take a lot of punishment. But yeah, they've, on this Phoenix course, one of the unique little features is those sausage curbs that will really discourage the drivers from trying to cut the corners and get away with an unfair advantage. As you can see, Hyman just testing his handbrake out. The great thing with Rallycross is that there is never a dull moment throughout the lap. The cars have to be driven basically at an all-or-nothing, very attacking style. Now, if you're wondering, the side vents on the side of the cars, which you don't normally see in rallying that often, and the rear vents there as well, you see them very often in rallycross, but not in a rally car. And that's because the cooling system on these cars are in fact placed in the rear of the car instead of the front. They're almost like in a drift car. So the intercooler is the only thing that is placed in the front for maximum efficiency, but the radiators, oil coolers, transmission coolers and rear differential coolers are all in the rear of the car to try and protect them, because this really is a contact sport. You will see the cars rubbing paint coming into the first corner. They are allowed to tap and touch each other. Obviously you can't hit someone deliberately. Oof, as real nicely there, big hit into the wall. Looks like the cars managed to get away with it. Like I said, these cars are very built very strong. Big jump through there. It's going to be very challenging to try and land that jump. You have basically a couple of strategies to try to jump these rallycross cars. Either you go as fast as you can into it and try and jump for as long as you can, or try and land the car as early as possible so you can get up and accelerate some more. So now that was the practice session over and done with, and now we're going to head into the qualifying session. 5 minutes, only 3 laps for the guys to try and get the fastest time out there. Nasi Singh and Arifin now just gone out. Muhammad is also out again. We'll go and have a look here at Melvin Legit. Big sideways moment. The rear wheels smoking as they go through there. Now some of these guys will be running the rear differential virtually completely locked up. In fact, some of the cars and some of the drivers will have big crash there from Melvin Legit Singh. And another big crash there from another car over there. I believe that was Alizam. Azrael Nazli there. Now is right on board with him. Big sideways moment, beautifully set up. Maximum star points there, but perhaps not the fastest way to go through the corner there. He just lets the other driver pass. That's good sportsmanship. Best not to block anyone else's run through there. But oh, there was Shaiful Arifin who had that roll. Big jump across the track there. It looks like his car's set up quite stiff. That means he can get as much cornering ability out of the car in the turns, but perhaps is a little bit of a disadvantage over the big jump. We only have one jump around here. The course is otherwise very flat indeed, so with the possible exception of this rather slight banking. So having a stiff setup on the car perhaps can gain you an advantage in clear air, but if you're fighting with someone or trying to go over this jump here, you can see the car bounce very violently through there. It's going to push as much as he can. Hanazul Elizam is now getting ready to head off into the course. We now have 7 cars out qualifying. You see there's no real danger of traffic for most of the guys apart from cars 6, 7 and 8. Meanwhile car 4 is also in another group there, but he's far enough behind not to get caught up with them. Azrael Nazli just clips the sausage curve there, almost just to help the car turn in a little bit. Ooh, he's had a big smack into the wall there, right into the barriers. That wouldn't have done him any good at all. He will have to go back into the pits. I believe fast repair is on, just to try and save the guys from any embarrassments, because big impact there from Saiful Arifin. He's probably going to have to go and get the car fixed as well. Azman Abdullah now ride, or we track now with Azman Abdullah. Big sideways moment there. He's managed to hold it in. Just about clipped the sausage curve there. Probably not ideal line through that corner, but he's managed to make it work, and he's managed to catch up to the car in front quite well indeed. In fact, the car in front gives way again for good sportsmanship there. But Azman Abdullah, he's definitely running a softer setup to help over the jumps, but it does mean the car is sliding a little bit more than Saiful Arifin's. And when the car's sliding a little bit more, you will have an opportunity to lose time there. Now, unfortunately, he's just had to go around there. We'll have to go back into the pits, I believe. See, carries on around the oval. Meanwhile, we go on board with Saiful Arifin. Again, the car very stiffly sprung. Every time it goes off that jump, it just has a secondary, big impact in the cloud there. That's very unfortunate. Both drivers couldn't see where the other was, so they ended up in the barrier. Now, the other thing the drivers would have to be listening to will be these spotters, which will be giving them information about the cars all around them. It is absolutely crucial in modern day rallycross, because not only do you have to ensure that you're not going to block or run into anyone on the sides or in the rear, you have very little visibility out of these rallycross cars. Mohaim's car also a little bit stiff, but not as extreme as Arifin's. But not only will like I was saying, not only would the spotters have to sort through there, but also they have to work out the joker laps. So now we have Azrul Nazli in pole position with Azman Abdullah second, Saiful Arifin in third position for Pico Potato Racing. Zainul Hazim is in fourth, followed by Muhammad Mahaimin in fifth, Hanazul Elizam of the SRE team in sixth position, Malvinderjit Singh for MSH Sim Racing in seventh position, with Tamizi Yusuf in SRE Malaysia team in eighth position. Kelvin T is in ninth for SRE, and Carol Alang is our director, who's managed to get himself on the grid.
Why am I there?
We might get to see you racing, or perhaps not. He will be spectating, but as he has to enter the race, he'll be in 10th position. So now we got all the cars lined up. They will be ready to go very, very shortly indeed. This will be a mass start. Quite a lot of cars out there. You can see the numbers from the roofs of the cars. Gonna get ready to go anytime now. We've got 7 cars on the first grid, and I believe there's another grid on the other side of the course, it looks like, just to try and carry all the other cars. Or
I think there are only 8, but I'm not seeing Tamizi around. Maybe he's not ready.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 cars.
His name is not that bold.
Yeah.
Like my name and his name.
Yeah. Either that, or they've been moved into another heat. We're still trying to iron out the kinks here as we go along, so if you guys do have any comments or suggestions, do let us know down there in the comment section below. So there is 8 on the grid there, and a jump start for number 8, and a jump start for number 4. And they're away. Saiful Arifin has been locked to the back there, and Yusuf as well with the time penalties. And a big spin there, and a big crash. 3 cars, 4 cars, 5 cars, they're all crashed, all off the road at the first corner there. That is a massive accident down there. I think Elizam has managed to escape in the Herbie coloured number 53 car, who's in fact running numbers 910 at the moment. So that's Elizam. Mohaimin actually is ahead of him, but that was Abdullah Nazli Singh, Hazim and Arifin, I guess, who unfortunately had that big accident at the start of the first lap. So now we're heading into the second lap. Big sideways movement there for Mohaimin as they go across through there. Hazim, Singh, Yusuf and Arifin. I'm gonna guess that they've gone off the road there. There's cars strewn all over the place here, and Hanazul Elizam is now, I believe, currently in the lead, and by 6 seconds from Abdullah, followed by Nazli, Mohaimin and Hazim. But remember, these guys also have to take 1 joker lap every race. This is a 15 lap race there with a 10-minute time limit, which I believe will get all 15 laps in before the time limit expires. You can see that big accident there from one of the cars. In the meantime, Azrael Nasli is in second position. Clipped the wall there, and he's just gone off the road. That's going to give an opportunity for Abdullah to get past him. Azman Abdullah has gone past. That's all action up and down the field, but it looks like Elizam has managed to get his fastest lap of the race, and he's 9 seconds ahead of all the rest of them. But in the meantime, we've got Arifin, Singh and Yusuf, who I believe are out. I know Yusuf is out, that's for sure. Kelvin T is out as well. Looks like Sarfal Arifin and Singh might be out as well. So currently we have Elizam from Abdullah, Nazli, Muhaimin and Hazim. We now go on board with our current second place man, Azman Abdullah, the number 3 Beetle, but he's been overtaken by Nazli. And now it's a drag racing line for the two of them as they go into the banked section. Look at Azman Abdullah, big lock-up, big sideways moment, but he still manages to catch up to the back of Nazli's car there. Perhaps the big sideways entry into the oval is working out for Azman Abdullah. Big jump through there, and it looks like Azman Nazli has broken something. He's gone off the road and let Abdullah pass into the lead. Elizam there has stopped almost stationary at into that corner there, and there we see the two Oberto coloured cars. Elizam ahead of Abdullah, who has a big moment over those jumps there. He's jumped the car off the sausage curve. That's cost him a lot of time. He's clipped another sausage curve there. So we have our first, we have one of our many victims of the sausage curbs coming into that section of the course. We had a big pile up coming into that first lap, and now we're in lap 6 at the moment. Now I'm not too sure if those blue
I think the blue is left car. One lap behind.
Be a bit hard to get lapped in a 15 lap race, but anyways, we now have Elizam and Abdullah now in first and second, followed by Nazli, Hazim, Muhaimin, Arifin, Singh and Yusuf. That's our top 8, and I believe Kelvin T is out, but it looks like Yusuf is also out. He's 3 laps behind everyone. I'm just trying to think if maybe that is the Joker lap that it's been repurposed in that way, because it looks like Yusuf is the only one that's dropped laps, but maybe confused a bit. Elizam is now back up in first position with Abdullah, Nazli, Hazim and Muhaimin in the top 5 placings. Azrael Nazli there in third. Now there's been so much action going around. I haven't been able to manage to try and find if anybody is gone through the Joker laps yet, because there's a lot of tactical things that can happen going through the Joker lap. In the meantime, we go riding with Zainul Hazim in 4th position as he makes that overtake. Now in the 2 purple and grey cars, Hazim is now in the purple bumpered Oberta bronze car rather, and Muhaimin is in the red bumpered bronze Oberta car. Big jump there from Hazim as they go tearing across around into that little horseshoe section there. Cars having to slow down through a combination of braking and sliding to try and get the most amount of speed through the corner there. Absolutely sideways motoring from these Beetles, and Hazim now comes in 4th position. The big ding-dong battle between these two livery teammates, and it looks like Zainul Hazim has got it all wrong. He's clipped one of those sausage curves and has been sent off into the barriers. Muhaimin now inherits 4th position from that. He's gone up into the lead, but he just jumps himself off the jump and ends up on the wrong side of the landing zone there for the jump. Mohammed now up in 4th position. Big sideways slide going through there. And in the meanwhile, we still have Elizam 38 seconds ahead of Abdullah. Oh, sorry, that's the lap time. 38 seconds for Elizam and 40 seconds for Abdullah. So Elizam is pulling away by quite a lot. And we have Elizam, Abdullah, Nazli, Muhaimin, Hazim, followed by Arifin and Singh. I believe Yusuf is now in the pits. For definitely quite a lot of laps down, so he won't be able to join back the race. But Muhaimin is definitely way into the lead. Sorry, Elizam is now definitely way into the lead as we track Muhaimin around the course there. That's Hanuzul Elizam, a massive 17 seconds ahead of 2nd place man Abdullah. Big sideways drift through that sort of carousel-esque section. His Beetle being painted in the famous Herbie colours, made famous for all those Walt Disney films back in the 60s. Complete with the rear number plate we see there in the back. But it looks like Elizam is now 20 seconds ahead of Abdullah, with Nazli behind him, then followed by Muhammad, Hazim, Singh, Arifin and Yusuf. Ooh, he's spun. He's going to lose quite a lot of time there, and it looks like Saiful Arifin has stopped. Saiful Arifin looks like he's got a big bit of a problem there. He might have to retire there. It looks like he may have had a technical issue. Meanwhile, we'll track Malvinderjit Singh through here, and he's spun the car across the jump, and he's managed to catch the car falling off the jump, and he's got the car going up again. But ooh, just those sausage curbs, you want to stay well clear of them. You only really want to hit them with one wheel, if that. But it looks like Malvinderjit Singh has a little bit of a problem with the car, perhaps. It's not quite driving the way that he would have intended it to. It looks like the rest of them are running away from it. But meanwhile, Zainul Hazim has caught back up with his livery mate, if you will, Muhammad Muhaimin. And Zainul Hazim will try and catch up. Or Muhaimin rather will try. Sorry. Losing.
They're all lapped, so you can see the gap and the relative.
Yeah, it's the timing I think has slightly failed because the lapped system isn't making any sense right now at the moment. Some cars are lapping themselves and then unlapping themselves even though there's no one around them, so that's why I'm just getting a little bit confused there. We're just still trying to iron out any of the issues here, because we are using a circuit racing timing system to try and time a rallycross race, so do apologize. We'll get this right eventually. I think the order is correct though. Azril Nazli has in fact won the race, or is about to win the race.
I think Elizam has won the race.
Sorry, yeah, Elizam has won the race. Okay, yeah. Elizam has in fact won the race, followed by Abdullah, Nazli, Muhaimin, Hazim, Singh, Arifin, who unfortunately had to stop there for quite a bit, Yusuf and Kelvin T, who unfortunately could not start the race. Or perhaps he was just spectating along with our director, Carol Along. So now we go into the. I believe.
I hope nothing happens with stationary car there. Oh my.
I think that just may be a little quirk of the system there. I don't think
this
you
is
selected
the
a car.
provisional grid, and if I were to enter in this race, and I load my car to the starting grid, I would be appearing there lah.
Yeah. So if in effect we have a reverse grid here with Tramizi Yusuf, in third position. That's your pole sitter, followed by Saiful Arifin, who unfortunately had that problem there for Pico Potato Racing, and Malvinderjit Singh for MSH Sim Racing. In sixth position is Zainul Hasim, followed by Muhammad Muhaimin, Azril Nazli, Asman Abdullah, and the SRE team driver of Hanizul Elizam. Now we've got another jump starter there. Looks like Malvinderjit Singh has jump started the course. They're all they're all off. So this is going to throw the timing system into a real loop, because it'll be too busy assessing the as we see, everyone else is going off. Yeah, I noticed Abdullah, Mazli and Yusuf are in blue, so I'm not too sure what's happening with the lap counting system, but Muhaimin, Elizam, Hazim, Singh and Arifin have all gone off. As soon as one car started, that was Malvinderjit Singh jump started, then a couple of others did, and then they all decided to leave before the starting line. Before the starting lights even had a chance to go off, let alone go off. So that's some extraordinary scenes down there from the starting grid. But now they're all off, up and running. Big sideways movement there. Big hit there for Elizam. Someone's managed to pit maneuver him, and he's also pit maneuvered another car there. I think Malvinderjit Singh got pit maneuvered in the background. There is all happening through this first few laps here, and this feature race is lap 2 of 20. Big accidents there. It looks like all the cars have just big accident there from Zainul Hazim. Yeah, we've sort of gone from a rallycross race into an absolute demolition derby there. Meanwhile, Azril Leslie has managed to claw his way from the back of the grid into second position, chasing down Muhammad Muhaimin. Up in first, it looks like we still don't have any retirees per se, but we see Saiful Arifin just losing a spot down there with Abdullah, and Azril Nazli now in second position. Saiful Arifin now, big jump, and that would not have done his car that much good. But he's still battling with Abdullah for third position. Saiful Arifin, very, very quick sim racer, usually on the circuit races, just adapting his driving style to rallycross. Doing rather well in practice. He's got a big pit maneuver there. Just about moved Abdullah away. Yusuf, meanwhile, has managed to get around to the top there. And it looks like, there's a big accident there. Saiful Arifin has a multiple rollover. It'll be very hard for him to try and get the car running again, but he manages to do so. The cars are just all over the track right now. It looks like we've lost all control of the race, but I do assure you that Muhammad Muhaimin is still in the lead, and Asman Abdullah there is still in third position, and Tarmizi Yusuf there just getting moved aside by Singh, who's gone off into the lead there. Perhaps some of the drivers just trying to get used to rallycross driving, a very, very tricky very, very tricky discipline indeed. So it's very easy to spin these cars because the way they're set up, they're not what you'd naturally call good handling cars, but if you drive them the way that they demand to be driven, they can go around corners very, very quickly, if very, very sideways. So now we follow Azril Nazli in that blue Beetle, blue Alberto livery Beetle, as he tries to chase up with, I believe that might have been Muhaimin.
In front of it is
Singh, right, okay.
So
alright, so he's about to be lapped again.
Quite a few number of back markers here.
Yeah. So there's
back markers.
So there's been
Singh is back marker right now.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of incidents in the first lap, because normally these courses are can only really take about 4 4 cars during the heats and 6 cars during the finals, and we're trying to run 8 cars through them. Perhaps they're just finding it a little bit crowded out there on the circuit, but it's absolutely happening all over the place here. And SRE Hosted getting turned around again and into the barriers. He's not having a good event right now. Meanwhile, Mohammed and Azrael Nazli, who we're tracking right now, is first and second. I think he's trying to get past Singh or Yusuf, I'm not too sure there. He's managed to get past, and now he's going to try and chase Mohammed, who's a full 8 seconds ahead. That's going to be a very, very tricky thing to do, but Nazli will be hoping that Mohammed encounters some of this lap traffic. It's all very, very busy out there indeed. And Mohammed now up there in first position, Nazli in second, and the first of the lapped runners, Hazib, is in third, followed by Singh, Yusuf, Arifin, Abdullah, Elizam in 8th position there, rounding out our field. And Azrael Nazli has clipped the barrier. He's rolled the car.
He's catching up very good.
Yeah, he's managed to cut the gap down into 4th position, but
close the gap. I think it was 3 seconds.
Yeah, he got it down to 3 or 4 seconds there, but unfortunately he's pretty much out of it. Yep, Nazli will have to tow the car back into the pits to try and recover the car. That's very, very unfortunate. It looks like Mohammed has also had a big spin through there, so he's going to be... As it looks like Mohammed might be the only person on the lead lap in a rather extraordinary race here. And there's no possibility of himself going down a lap. You'd have to let the entire field pass in order for that to happen. But we're only at lap 10 of 20, and there's been drama all over the place, and Mohammed has spun the car there. Meanwhile, Malvinderjit Singh is currently chasing, well, he was chasing Nazli, but he had got the car very, very crossed up coming into the jump, and he's had to drive his car over there. I think he'll be pulling out again. He's trying to get Nazli back on 4 wheels. He's got it. Well, Nazli has a problem there simply because if he can't get the car onto 4 wheels, he's going to have to tow the car or retire. So he's perhaps just gone onto Discord and called for the assistance of some of the lap runners to try and get him back up and going, and it looks like he has got back up and running, but unfortunately I think he has been lapped. Oh, and Malvinderjit Singh just clipped that barrier there. Now obviously realistic damage is turned off, otherwise we would have no rally cars running right now. But still, Malvinderjit Singh there just having a cheeky little battle with
I guess it's not easy transitioning from circuit driving to rallycross.
Yeah, and it's definitely been quite wild and woolly in comparison to the some of the Dirt Rally 2.0 stuff. Absolute chaos out there right now, but Mohammed is still comfortably in the lead. In fact, he's an entire lap ahead with Zainul Hazim there, down in 3rd position, a podium position for him in the feature race. Tramizi Yusuf now in 2nd, is a lap down. Saiful Arifin, who is quite quick, is now unfortunately 13 seconds behind the leader of this lap, so he is in 4th position, followed by Nazli, Singh, Abdullah and Elizam, who's fortunately I think appears to have been out. So if not out, he is definitely quite a long ways behind. And Zainul Hazim there just getting a big jump across the barriers there.
He overtook on air.
Yeah, that was not bad. It's a bit hard to... I've lost track of all the cars right now.
That was awesome.
It's been yeah. It's not often that you overtake with nothing, with absolutely zero traction whatsoever, but in Rallycross you can definitely pull it off. Meanwhile, we head over to see what Malvinderjit Singh is up to there. Just about gets the jump right. The jump is really throwing a lot of the guys off there. They seem to be falling off all over the place when it comes to the jumps. But yeah, big slides for some of the guys there. Now we're up to lap 14 out of 20, or 12-minute time limit, so we're not too sure if we can get all the laps in. We're hoping we can. So with the 5 laps to go for roughly 2 minutes. I think we might have to call it on lap 12-13, but Malvinderjit Singh there, currently now in 6th position. He's managed to hold on quite well. He was unfortunately the guy that started the whole chain reaction that led to the entire field jumping the start. Which was rather entertaining indeed. Now with this round, we're just most of the guys now are just introducing themselves to Rallycross, so they aren't really taking this as seriously as they would with a proper championship race. They're just trying to familiarise themselves with the cars as we familiarise ourselves with the Rallycross format on iRacing. But they definitely seem to be having quite a lot of fun out there. In fact, I wouldn't mind to be joining them right now, just quietly. It looks like an absolute barrel of laughs, and we've seen some fantastic car control from a lot of these guys, because these cars are not easy to drive by any stretch of the imagination. They go pretty much faster than you can think, and it does look a little bit slow through there, but you do have to remember that they're spending half their time on gravel with very little grip at all. Meantime, we head over to Azra Mazli. He was the one battling for 2nd position, but unfortunately there's another mistake there. He's just locked the wheels up there, so we're going to try and turn the car around. We've only got 30 seconds left. 2 laps to go. It looks like Malvinderjit Singh has rolled the car to a stop, and Azman Abdullah has a big spinning moment going across there. It looks like he might try and complete at least one more lap. That's the thing, when the car is just about to spin, it is the hardest thing in the world for a circuit racer to do, but in order for these cars to straighten out, you need to apply full throttle to straighten them out. That's just how the transmission system works. It'll pull the front end around, so you'll find yourself with the rear end way out, and as most circuit racers would, you'd back off, but in these cars you actually have to get even harder on the throttle. So if you guys at home are wondering why a lot of very talented sim racers seem to be spinning around and causing absolute bedlam out on the track, is because these cars are very weird to drive. They have a very specialized technique. That and the fact that the majority of the drivers out there are just out to have some big skids and a lot of fun. We're following now with the leader, Zainal Hazim. Yes, believe it or not, we have one. He's managed to unlap. He managed to unlap himself. I think Hazim managed to unlap himself as Mohammed was falling all over the road. So we do have a battle for the final. Or have we finished?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I was so busy trying to figure out who was leading, who was behind, and who did what, that I completely forgot the fact that the timer, as you can see there, has run out. So it looks like Zainal Hazim has won the feature race.
Is the race still on? Oh, it's on the feature.
No, I don't think it is anymore. But I believe Zainal Hazim has in fact won the race. He's definitely driving as if he's on a cool down lap.
I think definitely one more race after this.
Not too sure.
I'm receiving great info.
Right.
Let's just have a look. No, there's nothing.
Yeah, because there's a heat and now we're on the feature race. So I believe what's happened is that they've used a oval racing or a dirt oval setup to the base.
What's the next race? Finals? It should be, this one should be the feature race.
Normally when it's set to the feature race, that would be the the last race of the day, unless they have some sort of a super final set up. I'm not sure, because the pit in graphic of them just standing in the pits, I believe, is the same as the one for gridding up. So I'm not too sure of what's happening. Does the results show anything?
There's no results yet.
Right, so there might be
something's going amiss here. I don't know. I can't seem to grab a hold of it. Oh, here you go. The results are in.
Ah, there we go.
Why aren't they in? My.
Unfortunately, we've asked quite a lot of our circuit racing timing and graphic system for this Rallycross race. Rallycross has a few interesting demands, let's just say, on timing and scoring. So we do apologise for the results not coming up there.
The race monitor is saying the status is finished, but
so
I'm not receiving any results. So we assume Zainul Hazim was first, Azman Abdullah came in second, Hanazul Ilizam came in third, and fourth by Shaiful Arifin. Fifth is Muhammad Muhaimin. Azril Nazli came in sixth, Malvin Dajit Singh came in seventh, and Tarmizi came in eighth for the previous race. So maybe that's the final result.
I presume that's going to be the final result, because normally a feature race is the final race. It's all gone a little bit strange here, or as we say in back in the old country, it's all gone a bit Pete Tong.
So I think they all left the track already.
Yeah, it looks like there's only one car left out there, Saiful Arifin, who's just, that I think it's just the pit in signal there. But I believe Race Monitor has said it's finished. So just another run through to that little exhibition feature race. Hazim in first, Abdullah second, Elizam third, followed by Arifin, Muhaimin, Nazli, Singh, and the rest of them. With Yusuf, the final car, running. So
race over. Okay, we got
the
info from our host, Saiful Arifin. So guys, thank you. Can you wrap up?
All right. So all that remains is to thank the race host SRE for letting us have a little sneak peek into these hosted events. This is often the way they get to test and tune new race formats. And so a special thanks to them for letting us broadcast this, and a special thanks to our supporters, Interformula and C-Zone. Yep. All right. That's been our director, Karalang. I've been Mathew Palmer, and see you later. Ta-ra.